Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Read M. My name is Emily, and today is the first day of Summerween. I am so excited to get started this week on the Summerween readathon hosted by Gabby Reads and oliviareadsalatte. These are some of my favorite readathons hosted every single year. There's Summerween, Spring Flingaween, and Winterween, and it's just a week or half a week for some of them where you read spooky books, thriller books, mystery books, murder books, anything Halloween-esque. I've already set my TBR. I'm planning to read 3 books this week. I'll tell you what they are, but first I want to just tell you the prompt. So I'll try to put it on the screen, the prompts little graphic that they made. 2 of the prompts are not related to books, they're just like activities you can do, and then the other 3 are book related. So one of them is to read a slasher, one of them is to read a book with haunt in the title, and the last one is to read a book with Halloween colors on the cover. I've decided I'm going to set a TBR of 3 books. The first one, which I'm going to be starting today, is The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Now this book obviously has Halloween colors on the cover, and it also has haunt in the title, Haunting of Hill House. And it's also quite short, so very conducive to this readathon. And the other 2 books I have are Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, who is an author I have very much enjoyed before with his other book, The Only Good Indians, which is another horror book I would recommend. The other book I want to read is 10 by Gretchen McNeil, which I already have on Kindle, so you know, I gotta get some of my owned TBR out of the way. And that one is a slasher, which I believe is like kind of in the vein of And There Were None by Agatha Christie. And the final 2 prompts are just to have a fall treat and then also to read in the dark. So I will definitely be able to read in the dark at some point this week, and I think I'll be able to have a fall treat. I'll either buy candy or cookies or something, or I'll make hot chocolate one day, whatever. We'll see what happens throughout this week. I'm very excited, and I'm going to start with Haunting of Hill House. So I'll update you guys once I've made significant progress or I finished. Okay, I have a confession. It is actually now day 3, and I really didn't film anything yesterday. I did attempt to film some fireworks that happened at night, but well, this is the clip I got of that. So yeah, it was a bit of a failure because the flash turned on, and then immediately after that happened, the fireworks stopped for the rest of the night. So that was good. But anyway, I do have a reason for this update, and that is that I finished The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. Now, this book, I can see why a lot of people find it underwhelming, especially if they've watched the show. Like, I haven't watched the show, but from what I've heard, it's completely different than the book. Like, the only thing that's the same is the setting and the characters' names, even though the characters aren't the same at all. I know that the show like follows a family or something like that. This basically is about a doctor who wants to like study the occult. So he recruits 4 people to like go to this house and just like see what happens to them, if anything supernatural happens. So clearly the setup is very different. And I've also heard this like compared to like The Turn of the Screw, which I've read and I really liked, but also a lot of people don't like. So I think that going in with that comparison, I was very well prepared for what I was going into, because this is not, you know, like a really like gory, scary horror like that. It's very cerebral, psychological, very ambiguous, very strange, and just like eerie, I would describe it. And haunting, yes, but more in like a psychological way, like how it is in The Turn of the Screw. So I really liked this. I listened to the audiobook, and the version I was listening to had like weird, like eerie music in the background for some of it. So that definitely was a bit scary. I was thinking about doing this book as the one I read, you know, partially in the dark or whatever for the prompt, but I was like, no, I cannot do that. Because even though like nothing like concretely horrifying happened, the vibes were scary. The vibes were scary, especially when you're just like alone in a room, and that's literally what this is all about, being alone in a room. So that's why I didn't do it for this one. I think I'm gonna try to do the reading in the dark with either the novella I'm gonna read or just partially for the other book. I don't know. We haven't decided that yet. I'm giving this 4 stars. So I still have to decide what book to read next. I either can read 10, which is around 300 pages, or Night of the Mannequins, which is like 130 pages, and I'll definitely read that one in one day, whichever day I read it. So I'm kind of thinking that I should wait to do the novella so that I can commit to reading it all in the dark, because I can read it in one sitting, but it's obviously daytime now and I want to start something else. So I think what I'm going to do is I have to do some laundry now, and I think I'm gonna like, you know, do all of that while listening to the audiobook of 10. That's my plan, and I'll update you guys once I get into it. Okay, I have some very exciting updates. The first one that is very important and exciting is I officially have my hot chocolate. Okay, I want to show it to you, but I don't want to spill it everywhere. Okay, ready? Ow, oh my god, it's so hot. It's so hot. It's so hot. Okay, ready? Oh my god, it's spilling. It's gonna spill. Okay, you know what? Maybe, oh, genius idea. Ready? We're gonna lift the camera instead of the hot chocolate. Guys, I'm a genius. I'm a genius. Remember when I was an electrical engineer? Yeah, throw back to that. Anyway, I have hot chocolate, so I've fulfilled that prompt of having a fall dessert or snack. My actual update for this is that it is still day 3. It's coming to a close. It is 8:49 p.m. I have my hot chocolate. I'm ready to drink it. But I've also somehow read 60% of 10 by Gertrude McNeil. Now I have thoughts. My first thought is positive, that the audiobook narrator is so good. I'll look up her name later and I'll tell you it in my next update, because I have to shout her out because she's like performing. Like, it sounds like she's like acting out a movie. Like, when the people are screaming and stuff, she's going for it. So I really have to commend that. And maybe that's why it's so engaging to me, is like, the performance is just so great. The book itself, I mean, it's very much like, you know, edge of your seat, like you want to know who's gonna die, who's gonna be the person, blah, 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 all that good stuff. But I mean, I feel like then it's gonna be kind of mediocre. I don't know. I feel like it's not gonna be that great, but like, I'm enjoying it, so that's good. The only negative though that I do have is like, some of the language is a bit outdated. Like, it came out in 2012. It's very 2012. Even for 2012 though, some of the choices are a bit concerning, so I'm not sure if I'm going to be reading this on Goodreads or not. I don't know. I'm gonna decide by the ending. I mean, some of the word choices like on purpose because like the characters are supposed to be bad people, but then some of them aren't, and it's just like interesting. But yeah, I'm gonna finish the book and drink my hot chocolate. And my nails actually match. I just burned my hand. Okay, you know what? We're gonna calm down now. We're gonna calm down. We're gonna read my book and not injure myself any further. See you guys soon. Okay, I just finished, and let me just say, Talia Gilbert, the narrator, gave the performance of her life. Like, when I tell you, people were screaming, people were crying, people were wailing, and I was there for every second of it. Like, this, I need to read more books narrated by her, because this was so good, like such a good experience. It felt like a movie I was literally watching. Okay, but to talk about the actual book, so yes, I finished reading 10 by Gertrude McNeil. I'm giving it 4 stars. That being said, I rate based on enjoyment, not necessarily quality. So this book, very much enjoyable, but the last line is the funniest thing I've ever read in my entire life. I'm not gonna spoil things, but I'm just gonna say that the book is like very teenagers, like very much, what are your priorities here? Like, very much there are brutalized, like mutilated bodies. Like, we're not, like, this is a slasher. Like, there are organs like spewing out, and then people are just like, what if we make out right now? That's like the vibe that's happening. So from an enjoyment perspective, I'm like, you know what? We're just gonna let it be. We're just gonna go along for the ride. And because of that, I had a good time. Also, honestly, maybe because I just like read it all in one sitting and like was not thinking, like head empty. I kind of like the twists. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just, maybe my brain is just empty, but I had a good time. I was not expecting to read the entire thing today. So I finished 2 books today and it's only day 3. So tomorrow I'm planning on starting The Night of Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones, but that's a novella. It's 136 pages. So like, I'll honestly probably finish it like at work, because I can listen to audiobooks sometimes at work when I'm like doing data entry stuff. So I might need to add a book to my TBR. I don't know. We're gonna find out tomorrow. Today was a great day of Summerween, my favorite so far. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and I'm excited to continue reading. Hello, welcome to day 4 of Summerween. I'm sorry that I'm like giving you the same angle over and over again, but there's only so much I can do in my tiny little apartment room. Yeah, maybe I'll try to switch it up in the next clip, but for right now, I feel like the air conditioning is on and it's gonna be really loud if I like put you on the window, so this is what's happening. My work that I've been doing this week is very much like mindless, like fixing formatting stuff, so I was listening to the audiobook of Night of the Mannequins and I read the entire thing. I mean, it was only an hour and a half, so that took like no time. But I wanted to give you guys my thoughts because I'm giving Night of the Mannequins solid 4.5 stars. I just think this was a very interesting story that went in a direction I was not expecting it to. I was rewatching Kayla from Books and Lala's vlog from like 2020 when she read this back when I put it on my TBR initially, and she said like she was surprised by the direction it went, but if you read the synopsis it like told you that it was supposed to go there. But the Goodreads synopsis does not tell you that, so I had no idea this was gonna happen. But basically I just was expecting, based on the title, for it to be about like a mannequin that like comes to life and is killing people like in the first episode of Doctor Who. But it's not really that. It's actually about a group of friends who have this mannequin that they found like in a lake one day, and they always played with him like throughout their childhood until one day, you know, eventually they forgot it existed and never played with him again. And so it does kind of want to enact revenge and start killing them off one by one, but the mannequin itself is not actually what ends up killing them off one by one, because after the first victim, our main character decides that he wants to be the one to kill all of his friends because he thinks that it will spare their families the deaths. So I will not tell you more than that because it's only like 130 pages, and all of that kind of happens in like, you know, the very first like 10, 20 pages or whatever. But I just did not realize that was what the setup was. And I was kind of pleased by that. I don't know if that's bad to say, but I enjoyed the direction it went because I was not expecting it. I also really found it similar to The Body, a bit by Stephen King, just like similar themes about like childhood and not being able to like go back to nostalgia and like whatever, like all that stuff. So I found that really interesting. The gore, I forgot, because I remember I read The Only Good Indians, which is by the same author, last year, 2 years ago, and I forgot how gory he gets. Like, it's like, you think like, oh, it's a book, how bad can it be? No, like it's getting pretty into the details there. There was also a disturbing amount of talk about pee, much more than I would have preferred, but you know, that was there if that interests you at all. But yeah, I don't think the ending fully nailed the landing for me personally. Like, I really liked it, I really did like it, but maybe it's just because I read the audiobook so fast and was like a little bit distracted that I didn't fully get like a I don't know what that meant, but you know what I mean? Like, I didn't fully like, oh my god, I wasn't like, oh, but I did really like it a lot. In my mind, I know I shouldn't like compare things necessarily, but I'm comparing it to other horror novellas I've read, and it really made me think of A House at the Bottom of a Lake by Josh Malerman, for this, you know, similar vein of thing. But that one was like, I can't even describe to you like the level of engrossed I was in and like obsessed with that didn't happen here, even though this was really good. So this is a 4.5, solid 4.5. I still really want to read more from Stephen Graham Jones. I really like him as an author, and yeah, I'm just really excited that I finally got to this one. With all of that out of the way, we do have to address the elephant in the room, and that is that it is currently day 4 of Summerween, and I finished my entire TBR. I don't know what happened. I guess it's summer. I guess I didn't really think about the fact that it is summer and not the school year when I normally did these, and I don't know what happened. I just somehow read the entire book. So I guess I need to pick another book, don't I? And I'm just looking. You're sitting on my bookshelf right now, like that's where you are. So I'm thinking about like all the other books I have that are thrillers. Okay, so here are my 2 options. We have Dead Silence or The Push. Now these are both short. They're both 300 pages. This one is sci-fi horror. This one is psychological strangeness. I don't even know if it's a thriller or horror, but it's just psychological strangeness. But I feel like this is something at least very different from what I've read, where I feel like this is like Haunting of Hill House vibes. I mean, not exactly, but like, yeah, similar vein. Okay, because I cannot decide for the life of me, I'm gonna read the first chapter of both of these, and then I will come back to you and report on which one I have decided to continue with. Hello and welcome to day 5 of Summerween. I was not planning on updating right now because I still have yet to pick my next book, because last night I ended up just watching 3 episodes of Severance by accident and then Better Call Saul, which was like the saddest episode I've ever seen in my life. Anyway, all that being said, I just needed to give a little update because Summerween was supposed to be about scary books and not scary real life experiences, but I did just currently fall down 7 floors in an elevator. So that was a really fun time. Let me give you a little story time. So I just got back from work and I had a really heavy backpack on because I have a bunch of packages I just got. I got into the elevator. It went up to floor 5 from floor 1, and then a bunch of men came on the elevator that were like maintenance people, I guess. I don't really know. The building's like under like renovations right now, so they've been testing the fire alarms and stuff recently. So they were just like these random men, and it was like packed to the brim. And keep in mind, it's like so hot. It's a heat wave. I'm like melting and dying. It goes up 2 more floors to floor 7, and then as it's going to floor 8, the numbers simply become 2 dashes, and then it stops. And then there is this horrible beeping that begins, and then we start falling, and continue falling all the way down to the bottom floor where we thump, and then we're just stuck there, and it started going up again, and then it fell again, and then they were like, maybe we should call the person. I was like, oh, actually, I said that. I was like, should we press the call button? And they were like, oh, it's fine. And they were just like laughing, and I was like, So then they were like, okay, actually, you know what? Press the button. So I pressed it, and it started ringing and everything, and they were like, maybe we can pry the doors open. And then 2 of them pried open the door, and it was like kept closing, and they were like, okay, go. And then we kind of ran out of the elevator, and then I immediately went into the other elevator. Because I was like, I'm not going up 9 flights of stairs. So then I went into the other elevator and told everyone what just happened that was in that elevator, and it's really funny. And then we got here. So that was my experience. But now that that has happened, and we made it past that, I do want to do a little book unboxing, because we have a book mail. Okay. It almost worked. Didn't quite get all the way there, but you know, okay. Go. I believe, okay, this is my order. I ordered this book recently because, well, I've been really wanting to read this book in general, but then also on my Twitter, I've been posting like about my book that I'm writing, and this author on 2 separate occasions has replied saying that like the art and stuff like looks so good for it, and I'm like, oh my god, I need to support her now because she's so nice. So we have The Stardust Thief by Chelsea Abdullah, and she is really nice on Twitter, and this book sounds amazing. Also, oh my god, it's blurred by Alison Sapp, one of my favorite fantasy authors. But this book, I just know it has something to do with like assassin and a thief, and it's fantasy. That's kind of all I need to know. Like if it's fantasy and has an assassin and or thief, I'm here. I'm ready to read. About a merchant, criminal. There's a djinn bodyguard, illegal magic. Yeah. Oh, let's see what it looks like underneath. This is the test, the true test. It passed the test, it passed the test. I love when they have something underneath because I keep my hardcovers naked on my bookshelves at home, so. Oh, it's beautiful. Do you think it has a map? Another test. Of course it does. What would a fantasy book be without a map? The entire box just fell. Anyway, that being said, I'm gonna actually do my homework now. By homework, I mean read the first 2 chapters of the book I told you about yesterday. And I did post an Instagram poll about which one I should read, and everyone voted for the push. Not everyone, but majority voted for the push. So I'm probably gonna lean towards that one, but I'm gonna give both a try, and I'll update you guys once I get into my next read. Day 6 is upon us, and I have officially selected my final read based on the Instagram poll and by reading the first chapter of both this and Dead Silence. I selected this one, and I'm very happy about that decision because I've already read 108 pages starting yesterday, and I'm definitely able to finish this by tomorrow, which is, you know, the day that is the last day of the readathon. And I just need to say that I am already obsessed with this. First of all, it matches my nails, which is a good plus. And I don't know how to describe this because I didn't know really what it was going in. I had only heard it as described as kind of like a literary sort of psychological horror examination of motherhood and like what it means to be a mother, but then also like feelings that people who don't want to have children deal with, and then it's like the consequences of generational trauma of mothers and stuff. I don't know, it's very interesting so far. I really like it, and I actually was looking at like the blurbs because there's like a million blurbs because this is like a really big bestseller, and one of the blurbs, the last blurb included in the entire thing, is from Ian Reid, who wrote one of my favorite horror books of all time, which is like a similar type of horror called I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So like, I should have known this would be made for me. Yeah, like I can already tell I'm on page 108 that it's gonna be 5 stars, but like whatever, I'm just gonna spend the rest of my day reading this probably. And I do have to do some writing later. So I'll be doing some writing sprints a little bit later on, but for the next few hours, I'm just gonna be reading this because I'm obsessed. And also I texted one of my friends, you know who you are. You know who you are. You need to read this. You really do, because this is like, I think that this might become your entire personality if you read it. Anyway, that's it for this update. I'm so excited about this. It definitely isn't like a thriller in terms of like action and suspense, but somehow I need to keep reading. Like I personally feel like it's a thriller, even though it literally isn't. So I don't know if that makes any sense. But anyway, like it's just describing feelings that like I have never seen written down like this. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna give you my full thoughts once I finish because I feel like I need to know what the ending is. I need to know where this is going. I just need to keep reading. Okay, up to you soon. I don't even, okay. Oh my god, this is like the worst angle I've ever seen in my entire life. I literally just seconds ago finished watching Severance. I'm not okay. So basically, I realized I had watched most of the best drama series nominees for the Emmys. So I was like, oh, let me just try to finish it, or watch most of them. So I was gonna watch Severance and maybe I'll watch Yellow Jackets, I don't know. So I watched Severance. I just watched the last 4 episodes in one sitting. I don't even know what to say right now. I don't have words. Like, okay, if I'm talking like ranking wise for the Emmys, I tried to film this clip like a few days ago and I put Severance as 4th, with Ozark, Better Call Saul, and then Succession on top of it. It's definitely better than Ozark. Is it better than Better Call Saul? I think it might be. Okay, this is my official ranking now. Succession at the top, still at the top. Succession still at the top. Severance, Better Call Saul, Ozark, and then do I have Stranger Things and Squid Game? That's my ranking. Oh my god. I'm gonna need to process this for a bit and then I'm gonna keep reading. I also read more of The Push and it's really good, but like, I'm not okay after Severance. I'm not okay. Okay, see you soon. I finally changed the angle, so that's good. But I just finished this book, and I know that the clips that are going to be back to back in this is me being really shook like this from Severance, and now me being really shook like this from this. But oh my god, like, this? Imagine the fact that I wasn't going to be reading this in this vlog and I just randomly spontaneously decided to do it. Like, thank you who voted in the Instagram poll and chose this, because you were right. You were so right. This is perhaps one of the greatest things I've ever read in my life. And I say that knowing full well that there are so many people that should never read this. Like, if you have a baby, if you are pregnant, if you want to be a mother, don't read this. Do not do that to yourself. This, it will wheedle its way into your head and it will never let go. And I think you will be forever changed in a way that will make you go crazy. But from the perspective of someone who does not want children and who has a lot of the same thoughts and feelings as the main character of this book, this is everything. This is everything. This is what horror should be to me. And I know so many people, again, will either be like mentally scarred by this or will just think it's boring and slow and whatever. Like, no, I read this in 3 days because I could not put it down. This is what horror should be. There are no monsters. There are no bad guys. There are no ticking time bombs. There are no ghosts. There are no, none of that. There are just people. There are just scary people. And it's so good. Okay, maybe I should tell you what this is about. Although I will say that I don't think you should know that much going into it. Except for the fact that you should not read this if you have a baby. Please do not. But basically, what this is about, it is told in second person, which I did not know and was very pleased to see, because when that is done right, it's so good. And it's done right. So basically this whole book is written as a very long letter to our narrator's ex-husband. And it's her kind of just telling her version of the story of what happened between them and how things had gotten to the point where they are by the end. And so our narrator, her name is Blythe, she and her husband, Fox, in the beginning of this story, when she's writing the letters about the beginning of the relationship, they want to have a child, but really, the husband wants to have a child. She has never really wanted to have a child. She's always been kind of scared to have a child because her mom was terrible. They did not have a good relationship. And then you also get chapters that are flashbacks to her mother's childhood and how her mother-daughter relationship was also very bad, and how that mother also didn't want to have a child and was kind of forced into having one, and like so on and so forth. So you get to see all the generational trauma trickle down. But anyway, in the beginning of this book, our main character does end up having a child. She ends up having a daughter because it's kind of just what's expected of her and it's what her husband wants, and that's what she has to do. She does not love this child. The child does not love her. There is this weird rift between them that she cannot explain, and she worries is her own fault. But as the story goes on, she begins to kind of think deeply, even more, about her daughter and wonder if the problem is not her, and if the problem is her daughter. And then things go on from there. There is another thing that is in the back of the book that like is a plot point that comes up that is very necessary to the book, but I don't think you should go in knowing that. I think that you should just get there on your own because it didn't happen until 50%. So don't read the whole back of the book. I think what I just told you is all you need to know. It's just an exploration of motherhood, expectations of motherhood, of women and them being believed, of them making their own choices, of just a psychological exploration of a character who is kind of feels like she's going crazy, but is she really? Like, oh my god, this is so good. It's so good. It's so scary in the best way. Like, everything about it. And the last page, iconic. I wasn't sure if she was gonna go there. She went there. And oh my god. This is like a new favorite book of all time. I can't decide yet if it's my new favorite book of the year or not. I really think it might be over Project Hail Mary. I'm gonna have to think about that a little bit, but oh my god. And this is a debut novel. This is her first novel. How on earth did she sell this? She went, let me write a second person psychological literary book that's kind of horrifying and literally voices so many thoughts that people think you should not say out loud. Let me just write that. And it'll be great. And it was. Like, hello? I'm reading her next book. I already saw it on Goodreads. I don't even know what it's about. I think there's a description. I don't even care. I said want to read. It's on my list. It's coming out next year. I will be reading. Because I don't even know what to say. Okay, let me give you one quote. One little quote to take away from this. I think I tabbed one. Most of it I didn't tab because the whole thing is an iconic quote. But here's one that I guess stuck with me. I don't want you learning to be like me, but I don't know how to teach you to be anyone different. Like, okay, I feel like that quote, it didn't sound like it when I just said it out loud like that, but in the context of everything, it's really a culmination. It's really just the whole thing. The whole thing is something that I feel like was sitting within me that has been poured out into this. It has been poured out into this, and it's so good. It's so good. It's my perfect little weird genre that people are gonna hate and despise and be mentally scarred by, but I am endlessly fascinated and so glad that this exists. And that is all I have to say. It's making me so inspired to write also because oh my god, like I can't even articulate how good this was. I can't even articulate how amazing it was. Even though I'm writing like a stupid young adult commercial book, not to say that they're stupid, but you know what I mean, like it's imposter syndrome, okay? But like what I'm writing feels stupid compared to this, okay? But like it still inspires that story even though it has literally nothing to do with like just the writing. The writing is so good. Everything is so good. I bow down to Miss Ashley Aldrin. I need her immediately. Also, what I found fascinating is that I read the acknowledgements and stuff, and there's also like a little, because this is like a paperback edition, so there's like a little reader's guide from Penguin in the back, and there was like questions like, oh, what inspired you to write this, blah, blah, blah. This is written by a completely sane, normal mother from what I'm gathering enjoys having a family and whatever, and this was just a fun little exploration for her to go down. Like, this is not like deep set, like what she feels or anything. Like, this is just like, oh, let me just write this cool little character who thinks like this. I am in awe because I feel like this book would make a lot of mothers angry. Like this one, a lot of like moms, like the moms that this character does not understand would be like burning this book. But like the author is like, it seems, a normal mother. And yet she came up with this brilliant piece of literature. I still need to like settle my mind. I looked it up because I need an adaptation of this. I looked it up and there is one that's been in the works, I think. I mean, I don't know if it's been like solidified or what. There's no cast or anything, but like there's potentially one that might exist. And like I need it. Like if you like Gillian Flynn, I feel like you would like this. Or if you liked I'm Thinking of Ending Things, I also think you would like, well, when I say that, I mean like you would appreciate the writing style and the slow pace, even though I found it really addictive. But I guess the content, I'm not sure because this is not good for some people, like the content of this. But for me, oh, so good. So good. Like, I feel like I'm gonna read this again one day. Not right now, but one day, perhaps. But yes, anyway, that's all I have to say about the book. Don't read this if you have a child. Well, if you have a child, maybe, but a baby, no. Or just, if you have certain opinions and outlooks on life, don't read this. Don't, you're not gonna like it. But if anything I said intrigued you, like this might change your life. It really might. It's so good. Okay, anyway, with that being said, this is the end of my Summerween vlog. I'm so happy that I'm ending it on like that iconic ending because I can't get over that book. Like I can't get over it. and I'm so glad I actually read it for this vlog. And I'm also so excited because I was just looking at a bunch of reviews after, because like I need to like consume everyone's thoughts about this, and Gabby Reads, who is one of the co-hosts of this readathon, loved this book too, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so fitting. I read it for Summerween, it's one of her favorite books, like yes, so excited. Oh, I also forgot to mention that I did complete the last challenge on the little challenge thing, because I read most of this book in the dark at night, like last night, so that was good. I read it with my little reading light over there. So I got to complete all the challenges. The air conditioning just turned on, so that's really annoying, so I'm gonna try to wrap this up really fast. Okay, so that's all I have for this week's readathon of Summerween. I'm so glad that I vlogged this. It was really fun. I really enjoyed all my reads, and I'm so glad that I got to do this, and I'm so excited for the next like ween reading vlog. I think it might be Winterween. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm excited for whenever the next one is. And that's all I have for today. So please consider liking, commenting for engagement, subscribing, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!